He'll be okay.
He'll be fine. He just signed a contract. Speaking of signing contracts, this is from at Adam Schefter. I don't know why I threw his at. It's just from Adam Schefter. Reigning Offensive Player of the Year, Christian McCaffrey, once again, resets the running back market, signing a 2-year extension with the San Francisco 49ers, averaging $19 million per season per sources, telling Adam Schefter. McCaffrey will receive an additional $8 million over what he was scheduled to make in the first 2 years, while adding $24 million in guarantees. And that is your breaking news.
He's 27, so this is basically the rest of his prime. So
that's
27 through 29, I would say probably his last opportunity to get the super bag.
Yep.
And we can just say goodbye, farewell to Brandon Aiyuk. He's going to, I mean, if you're the Niners, you're in a great position because he has to ball out this year because he wants to get paid. They're probably just not going to pay him. I guess if you're worried about him holding out, and we'll have Nate hop in here, I guess the worry is that he holds out, but he can't really afford to hold out if I'm not mistaken, because he wants to get paid next year when he's a free agent. Do I have that right, Nate?
Yeah, for Aiyuk, yeah. I mean, I just said as I walked in there during the break, Chris, I almost had a heart attack. I thought he was holding out initially when I saw McCaffrey was when I saw that, but when I read the tweet and everything, I genuinely think Aiyuk is gone. I think the writing's all on the walls. I'd be pretty shocked at this moment in time if he stayed. Just look at, drafting Ricky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Slick Rick. You got,
and he's a steal.
You got
Carlo.
Oh yeah, Carlo. Yeah. You got the JJ deal being done, which me and Chris were talking about this morning. People are comparing it to Aiyuk, the Justin Jefferson deal, but just Ayuk's obviously not the player. Justin Jefferson is. He's probably about 80% of that player. Does that mean he'll make 80% of 38 million, 37 million a year?
That's kind of what we talked about yesterday with CeeDee Lamb also basically holding out.
Not only did they keep Juwan through this year by keeping him restricted free agent, they are matching whatever for that $4.5 million, whatever it was. They extend him, so he's a piece going forward, right? That they want. I just think Aiyuk. I want him here so bad. I think it's like Malik Monk. I just don't think the money's right.
And real quick,
ahead,
sorry, I want to throw this in here. This is from Matt Mayoko 4 minutes ago as well. Wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk has not reported for the start of 49ers mandatory minicamp. Per CBA, he is subject to $104,000 fine, $104,000 in fines over the next 3 days.
Yeah, well, that's pocket change to what he's going to get.
Hopefully,
when he goes to Jacksonville or Buffalo or
with this boy Eric Armstead. They're both going to be at Publix together
Trent
eating
Baalke,
sandwiches,
even though they didn't cross over.
So if you're just joining us, Christian McCaffrey is signing a 2-year extension with the 49ers, averaging $19 million a year. The reigning offensive player of the year has once again reset the running back market. That is Adam Schefter. McCaffrey will receive an additional $8 million over what he was scheduled to make in the first. I'm just extending this here.
Super happy this is done.
Yeah, in the first 2 years, while adding $24 million in guarantees. The deal was negotiated and confirmed by WME Football. That is Adam Schefter. This will take McCaffrey through the rest of his prime. He's 27 years old now, be 29, 30 when this thing is all said and done. Got to look up his birthday for celebrity birthdays. And look, let's just spend some time on Christian McCaffrey. The guy's a complete stud muffin. Okay. He's the best running back in the league as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. I saw something yesterday about Bijan Robinson wanting to, in that new offense in Atlanta, wanting to be the Christian McCaffrey type role. It's just not the type. He's just not the type of guy you can duplicate or replicate. And I feel like the Niners have so many of those guys. You know, what's funny when it comes back to the Aiyuk situation, you cannot duplicate Christian McCaffrey. And as much as people kind of go back and forth with Debo, you cannot duplicate or replicate Debo. Maybe you feel like it's time to move on. Mm-hmm. The one guy that I feel like you could replace is Brandon Aiyuk.
Sure.
That's not to say he's not a good player,
right?
But you have a lot of guys that do a lot of different things. The one guy that you probably could find, talk about Nate 80% of the Justin Jefferson deal. Could you find somebody if you have this offense?
Yeah.
Could you find somebody that's 80% of Brandon Aiyuk?
Right.
Could that be Ricky? Could that whoever it is? I know that he is a security blanket for Brock Purdy. But if Brock Purdy is that dude, and if Brock Purdy is what you think Brock Purdy is, he's going to find another security blanket.
I'm also not upset if Jawan Jennings steps into that role. He's been that third guy, well, like seventh guy in the offense, but that third receiver, right? I would not be upset with him taking a more prominent role in the offense if Ricky doesn't work out, even though he's the best steal ever in the NFL.
Yeah. And a reach.
Yeah, and a reach and a steal.
That's right.
He's a Hall of Famer and he's a bust and everything. So
technician.
I would not be upset to see Jawan get a bigger role if Aiyuk leaves.
And where I'm at, and the craziest thing is last season they didn't even utilize Christian McCaffrey in the passing game.
Not in the passing game, no.
I felt like that first year he came in, he had the Boobie Miles game where he ran for one, caught one, he did
his first start as a 49er.
It was insane. It was insane. So you didn't even you still have that ability with Christian McCaffrey that maybe you utilize more if you do move off of Brandon Aiyuk. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is the problem with a lot of the Niner arguments where it's, well, if this person had this many targets, he could be this. Well, they didn't. So I don't know where I can put Brandon Aiyuk. The big question is whether or not he is a game changer or not. Brandon Aiyuk is not better than CeeDee Lamb to me. Now, the question becomes, would he be better with CeeDee Lamb's usage? I don't know.
I don't think so.
And I'm just tired of doing this.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra, St. Brown, we can have a conversation, but again, we're arguing even if it's not Aiyuk's fault. That's another reason I think Aiyuk's gone, because he wants the rock. Right. He wants to prove people like me wrong.
And that's not this place.
That's not this place.
That's not this system.
Can we just talk about the fact that getting another receiver is a straight up slap to Aiyuk's face?
It's slapping somebody's face.
It's somebody. We didn't know whose face.
Wait and see. Yeah,
it's somebody's
it's gonna
face.
Be somebody.
Didn't you just make this argument a couple weeks ago with me though about Jalen Waddle? If he wasn't hurt as much, he would be better than Aiyuk.
I was half kidding.
Okay,
but only half.
Yeah. So half of you is it being a hypocrite?
But but I don't get what you're saying though. Oh, you're saying
isn't that almost the exact same argument?
No. But they paid Waddle. But I agree with what you're saying, but I'm not going to take it to the next level and say because of that Waddle is better. You can have the conversation. I feel like too many people say I'm not putting Amon-Ra St. Brown over Aiyuk because with that usage, Aiyuk would be better.
Yeah, you're making an argument based on potential.
Yeah, I can say that to you about Waddle, but I'm saying Aiyuk is better than Waddle. There are people that would say, just using the Amon-Ra St. Brown Aiyuk conversation, I'm not putting Amon-Ra over Aiyuk because their usage isn't the same. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around. Oh, okay. I'm trying to figure out the argument.
Yeah. I'm not. I wouldn't say, well, because Waddle can't stay healthy. I'm going to assume if he was healthy, he would be as good as Aiyuk. Therefore, I'm not going to say Aiyuk is better than Waddle. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm not saying that.
I have one question and 1 point. Question one, Nate, and this is more for you. You'd probably have a better grasp of this. So in terms of locked up moving forward, if we're talking like 3 years in the future, it really is McCaffrey, Bosa, and then going to be Brock Purdy, right? In terms of the biggest pieces, and maybe Fred Warner might be
maybe
signed.
Kittle, depending on what he takes or what happens there. But yeah, you're
I'm
pretty
trying
much
to figure
right.
out where they're shaping this for the future.
So
because there's only a certain amount of dollars that you can spend here. I mean, at some point the funny money is going to run out when you have to pay the quarterback.
So then another piece on defense, no one's talking about because he wasn't there for a lot of the season last year. You got Hufanga, who was an all-pro at one point.
Yeah, Emil talked about that last week as well.
Yeah, so he could be a key piece depending on where he's at.
People have talked about moving him this season too,
which I think is not a bad idea. I don't think that's a bad idea to be completely honest. So what? He's going into year 3 on his rookie deal. So that's great. But yeah, Warner will be around. You're essentially right. Trent will probably be gone. Maybe some other pieces on the line stick around. You got like guys like Spencer Burford, but I don't know how they view him as an organization. But yeah, I think those are the heavy hitters that'll be here.
My next question or point is and it sounds it's not a good question to ask today of all days, especially after last season, especially. But Christian McCaffrey, age 28 to 31. Are we sure?
No, we're not.
I'm not sure.
No one's sure. You shouldn't be sure.
I mean, you just had 2 really healthy seasons from Christian.
Very, very healthy.
And
I don't like this game.
No, I'm just saying
I'll just read the look.
Yeah.
First year of his career, 16 games. Second year of his career, 16 games. Third year, 16 games. In 2023, in 2021, 7. Then he played 17 in 2022, 16 last year.
Yeah, he's been.
So you can believe what you want. You can say those 2 years, random injury, dude's in picture perfect shape.
Oh yeah,
takes care of his body, maybe better than anybody. If anybody's going to be a running back that thrives in their 30s, it's going to be this guy. Or you can say, like you just said, we just got 2 healthy seasons of him. The longest he's been able to string together is really 3 years.
If there's one person I would pay in this situation, it's him. Christian McCaffrey. Did you guys see
a
this?
safe bet to lose.
This was, I think, this last year where Christian McCaffrey was on a podcast and he was talking about his dad and how, his whole family
is
just
God, yeah, just
crazy
like
athletes,
the Harbaughs,
right?
Essentially of like, oh yeah, when I was a kid,
yes,
my dad fed me Gatorade instead of milk.
So his dad, he cramped during a high school game. After that, his dad would pick him up. I think he had a dead period during 4th period in high school. His dad would pick him up. They would go get an IV, and then his dad would take him back to school. His dad also told him on game days, don't wear jeans because the jeans would put extra stress on your legs. On game day, don't exert energy, don't laugh and scream and just go to school and be quiet on game days. So if there's one person I'm trusting their work ethic, the one dude that's in the locker room that all the other studs are saying, I need to get like that guy, it's Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Coming up next, we continue the conversation, and in 20 minutes,